and welcome to this presentation. My name is Brian Young. I'm working for BuildingPoint Scandinavia, and the topic today will be tips and tricks for Tekla. I have worked with Tekla for almost 20 years, and I have seen a lot of tips and tricks in my career as a software specialist. So for now, more introduction, let's go into the slide. So the first tips I want to share with you today is how to find related objects in the model that have been hidden or gone away, or you can find it. So sometimes you have make some cuts in a part and you can't find that cut. That is a good tip how to find it, and I will show you that now. So the way we are doing this is that we are first seeing only parts in the model. So we go to the visibility and set it only to parts and hit the modify. Then next thing is here that we will find the part where we want to find the related part to, and that is this one, and we will say show only selected, so only that part is visible in the model. Now the trip comes here, we need to delete the part, and when we undo like that, all related part to this part will be available in the model or visible. So with zooming out, we can see here that the cut I was looking for is here at the top. So now I have found it. That is a really easy way to find related parts to a part. They can be rebars, bolt, or cuts, or anything else. The next thing I want to talk about is undo. So there is a way of doing undos in Tekla, but today I will talk about two of them. So the first one is undo history, and the next one is undo last picket point. So let's take a look at the first one here. So that's the undo history. The undo history is more like a recording of what you are doing in the model, I would say. So every time you do a change, then the undo history will capture that one. So here, if I change to an IP 300, I will get a modified steel beam in the undo history. There, one more. If I do some changes to this beam here by doing it shorter, you will also see direct modifications stands in the list. So I know that we have done some changes there. I can also delete things, so it will comes up with the deleted information. So here, delete fitting. All the things we are doing will be showed here. And we can use this list to go back to some of the things we have done. So it's an easy way to see what we have done and go back. So the same as undo and redo. But in this case here, you have a list of it and you can see it. One thing you need to be aware of is if you are saving your model or opening a drawing, this list will be reset. So it will start from scratch again. Next thing I want to show a little bit about is if you are doing polygon picking for a polygon part or a polygon cut or for a slab or anything. If you pick a wrong point, then sometimes you want to undo that and you try to use the undo on the keyboard or in the shortcut, but it doesn't work. You need to use this one called undo last polygon pick, and that is on backspace on the keyboard. Let me show you here. So I'm starting doing a slab. I pick my first point here, so go around and pick the point here, and now inside here I pick maybe wrong. Then I hit my backspace. And I can do it many times. So if I need to go more points back, and then I can go forward again without going totally back to the scratch, I can actually end my polygon. So we can undo some points without doing it totally from scratch. So that's a good way to, if you have picked a lot of points and you just want to go one mistake back. Next thing here is direct manipulation. In direct manipulation, there is a good way to modify your parts by these arrows we see here in the view. But there is actually a possibility to have lots of more arrows to modify your plate and beams with. And that is the tips for today. I will show you how to put that on. So here you can see we have a beam. You can modify it in the beam direction, and that's only what you can do. And from here, you have a plate. You have all the side. You have a dimension for each side, and you can change that. Of course, you can hit the handle as well and do some changes from that or from the line and drag the line. but it's actually possible to have more points. So if you hit the line here and you hit the mini toolbar and go for the dimensioning, and here you can set X, Y, and Z dimensioning on. Now when I hit the line again with the mouse, I can see there is more dimension line coming up. So now I can actually modify this in X and Y direction as well. The same goes for beams. If I hit the middle of the beam and go to the mini toolbar, hit the dimensioning, I can set X, Y, Z on. And now when I hit the line again in the middle, I get the X and Y coordinate dimensioning as well. So I can change that. So more lines to edit your part or your beams plate with. The next one I want to talk about is locking the coordinates. So you can lock your coordinate by using X, Y, or Z on the keyboard. So in this way here, you can actually model something by picking another point. I will show that a little bit here in the video. Be careful, look into this red box down here. You can see when I'm using my X, Y, and Z on the keyboard, they will pop up here with X, Y, or Z. So let's play it. So first I want to make a plate, and I actually lock my X direction by hitting the mouse over the, and you can see now I'm picking points at the side, but it models inside the middle of the screen. Now I lock my Y direction, so I can only pick in the X direction. I pick down here, and now I unlock it again, and now I can lock my X direction, and I can only pick in the right direction. So I pick over to the side again, and now I can hit the middle mouse button, and I'm finished with my plate. So I can actually, by locking my axis, easily model something outside there by picking points in somewhere else area. I have one more video about this. Now it's more like working in the Z direction. So if I want to model something in a specific coordinate Z direction, I can do that. Let's see here in the video. So I start my beam command, and I lock my Z direction up at the top of this beam. So now when I pick somewhere else down, lower down, you can see it still modify or build the beams at the locked coordinate. So if I pick down here and down here, I will still get my beam up in the locked coordinates. So I can take one more here, and you can still see how it models at the top by picking down there. So it's a good way if you want to model something in a specific level. You can do that by picking anywhere. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is the search bar. It's a little bit newer functionality in Tekla, but you can actually in the model search for name, profile, material, and position number. You could do it for the whole model or for an area. So let me show here in the video. So if I just search for the whole model here, I will go down in the search area down here and write my maybe a profile 100 times 10 and hit the search in model. It will find them all in the model. If I want to do it in a specific area like this area here, I can then search with the other search functionality, and it will only search in that area. When it searches, it highlights the parts, and you can actually modify them right away when they are highlighted. So you can actually do changes to the ones you have found in the model. Just hit the modify, and they will change them. There's also other ways to find parts in your model and do some quality check. So there is a report in almost all environment called p-select part position. It's a list that is interacting with the model. So if we have a look here. So first I create my list. I do it from the report, and I do it from all my model objects. Then I got a report. So this report here, I just do it a little bit smaller so it can be on the screen. And now I'm actually possibility to select things in this report, and it will highlight in the model. So if I now select, I can also select more parts like I do here. I select all the 100 times 10, and they will highlight. Or the ones we have just modified, it can highlight these ones. And now when they are highlighted, they can actually be modified as well. So now we can maybe change them back to what we have before. And that way we can easily find things and do modification and change things from the list. And we can easily in the list see if there's something wrong. So it's a good way to do some quality check of your model. This can still be combined with other functionality. So we can actually also zoom into a specific part we are selecting in the list. We can also fit the work area about a specific part we are selecting in the list. So let me show that in another video. So we still have the list open. And as we remember before, I can select one part and it will highlight. But now if I hit the set on the keyboard and pick the part again, see what happens now. It will zoom directly to that part I'm selecting. So sit on the keyboard and pick a part in the list. Do it now, boom, and it will actually zoom directly to that part. So it's a good way to find if it's a small part like I have here, it's a good way to find them in the model. We can also do it with the fit. So now I'm doing with the fit work area. So just with F down on the keyboard, so you can see it will also fit the work area to that specific part. Let's try here with an L profile instead, so you can see how the work areas are fitting around the L profile, and it's still zooming in. So it's really, really easy way to find it. We will do it for a bigger beam like this. The work area will still be around the beam, and it will be easy to find in the model and do also changes and modifications. Okay. The next tip I want to talk with you about is the way of building beams. So normally you know how to build a beam. You're picking two parts in the model. But have you also tried to build a beam by telling the length of the beam and then the angle it should come in with? I will show you here an example on that. So let's try to see how that looks. So I'll start with starting my beam command. Now I'll pick my first point for the beam. And instead of picking the second point, I hit the keyboard to 1000 in the length and at 30 degrees. So now I get a beam here in the plane with 30 degrees from the x-axis. I can also do it in the other, so out of the plane. So just the same, 1000, but now a 0 in the plane and 45 degrees in the Z direction. So now I get one beam in the plane and one beam out of the plane. And we can of course check if the angle is correct by doing a angle check. And here I do the check also in the plane, and we can see both of them are 45 degrees. So it seems to be okay. So it's a good way to insert a beam if you need to put it in with an angle. The next thing I want to talk about is 3-point functionality we have in Tekla. So we have this menu with all these kind of point tools, but I have highlighted here 3 of them I want to talk about today. There's definitely a lot of really, really good points tools in Tekla. And I know some of them you are already familiar with, but maybe these 3 you have not used that much, and therefore I would like to give them a highlight. So let's look at the first one, tangents to circle. So the tangents to circle is actually easy to use. You just need to, of course, start the tool. Then you need to pick the center of your circle and the radius, and then which point and which side. And it comes in with a point for the tangents. And here, one more time, and you get a new point for the tangents. And now we can actually use these 2 points to model our beams from one tangent to another, like that. And then we can actually maybe use a curved beam just to connect these ones. Then we get a really, really nice model with exactly model point. Next one I want to show you here is intersection of part and line. That means actually when a line goes through a part, the faces of the part it goes through, we will get a point. So let's see how that works. So here we have a curved beam and 2 lines, or 1 line and a beam. So first I'll pick the part I want to find the point on, and then the line. and here we get 2 points because we are going through 2 faces on that part. We can do it one more time for the beam. So then we need to select the beam line here, and we get 2 points as well, where the beam line goes through the curved beam. So now we can delete this part, and we can actually build some beams to this point, so we can use them for snapping. So like so, and here the other beams to the other point, and we know they are exactly on the face. So that is a good way to find a point on a face, and if you want to snap to it, then put this point in, then you can snap to it. Next one here is intersection of 2 lines. So the intersection of 2 lines is pretty easy to use. It's just telling the tool where the line should be. So here for the center line of the beam and the center line of the other beam, and there will come an intersection point. Now we can check that intersection point by putting in some contour lines, and we can see that it seems correct. It can also be that these 2 parts that you are trying to find a section between is not outside in the model, but more like one of the beams are going directly into the other beams, so it hits the beam. Let's see here how that works. So here I again want to pick my 2 lines. So I start the tool again, and I hit the one beam line and the other beams line. And this time I get a point on the other beams because it's actually there they are intersecting each other. So, and I can build a beam from that point to the end of the beam. So we can see there that is correct. Yep, so that's 3 ways of using point tools. There's definitely a lot of other good point tools, but this was these 3 I want to talk about in this presentation. The next one here is that a lot of you have maybe used the copy line functionality in Tekla, but have you also used the copy line functionality with calculating? You can actually do small calculation. I will show you here in the video how we can do that. So here I have a stair and I have 2 balusters, and now I want to put some extra balusters between these 2 balusters with equal spaces. So the way we do that is starting my line tool. I pick the 2 balusters, so I get the distance between them. I get the X and the Z information, and now I will do some kind of calculations instead of do the normal copy. So I say I will divide it in 10 spaces, and I want to have 9 pieces. So with that, I can say copy, and then I get exactly equal spaces between all these ones. So this is one way to do it, but we can actually do it more faster or in a better way. We can actually use the work plane, because the copy linear will work on the X direction of the work plane. So if I start the copy linear tool again with having the work plane set, and again pick the point in the model from there and to there, you can see now I get only 1 dimension in the X. And now I only have that one, and I can do the dividing for that one in the same way. It's more easy, and it's a better, what you call it, dimension to work with. So that was a way to use the copy linear in another way than just using the normal functionality where we are picking, but now here we are using the calculation as well. Mini Toolbar for drawings, its functionality comes in Tekla, so you can easily find your drawings belonging to a part, but first you can also create them. So right now I'm in the video here creating the drawing for a single part and assembly part. So it's just a click and they are created. I can also open the drawing directly from here. So just click on the drawing and it will open up directly from the part. The same goes with the assembly drawing. Go down here, take the assembly drawing, click on it, and it will open directly. So it's a really, really fast way to find a drawing belonging to a part in the model. You can also open the drawing catalog, the document manager, directly from that part, and you can see the 2 drawings belonging to that part from the document manager. It's just small tips to fast find the drawings. The last thing I want to talk about here is Trimble Connect Sync. So Trimble Connect Sync is actually not something we have inside Tekla. It's more like outside of Tekla, but it's an extra tool that you can download. So if you are working with Tekla and Trimble Connect and you have your model in the cloud in Trimble Connect, then this tool maybe could be a really, really good one to use as well together with your Trimble Connect and your Tekla model. It can synchronize folders directly from your computers to the cloud. So that can be some folders in your model, your Tekla model you need to synchronize up. It can be some other folders on your computer with other stuff belonging to this project. You need to be synced up so it will be shared with all. It can set up to be automatically synced every time, so you can sync one times in a day or every hours or what you need. And you can also set multiple sync up, so you can sync from different places and many times. So I have a small example here. So here I set the sync to my model folder here. I have my IFC files, I have my plot files, I have my reports, and all this I want to sync up to my Trimble Connect manually or automatically. So I set up here my sync for these 3 folders to be synced up to these 3 folders in my Trimble Connect model. So now I can set it to sync every now and then or when I want to sync. So all things will be on the cloud and it will be related to all people can see it. So it's a good way to keep all things in track. Another thing for Trimble Connect Sync, we see people also use Trimble Connect for using, have the firm settings up there. It's actually possible to do that. So you can actually set up a sync that sync your whole company structure by this Trimble Connect Sync. So the good thing here is that users can work offline. You can also work when you are not in your company, so you still have access to all your files at the cloud. If you have a third-party drafter for you that will do some drafting for you, they can actually have access to your Trimble Connect cloud as well, so they can also do the same, have the same setup that you have if they need to do drawings for you. So it's much easier than you need to give them access to your own company environment. So it's a good way to do all these kind of things, and all things are handled in the cloud. If you want to know more about this and learn more or need some setup for this, please contact us. We have done this a lot of time for other customers and do this kind of Trimble Connect cloud solutions. Yeah, that was my last slide from here. I hope you can use some of these tips and tricks and then just back and say, see you.